Imagine the weight of 1,000 skyscrapers pressing against your skull. Imagine a darkness so thick it feels like a physical weight against your eyes. A void where the very concept of light has been forgotten for millions of years. Imagine a silence so absolute that you can hear the blood rushing through your own veins. A rhythmic reminder that you are a fragile, biological intruder in a place that was never meant to sustain life. We often look to the stars, dreaming of the vastness of the cosmos. Yet we forget that beneath our very feet lies a realm more alien than the surface of Mars. The Earth is not a gentle cradle. 'Tis a massive, ancient machine of rock and water. And as you descend into its deepest scars, the planet begins to whisper a terrifying truth. The planet was not made for you. It does not care for your curiosity. It does not recognize your technology. There are places on this map where the laws of biology break, where the pressure turns water into a crushing solid, and where the heat of the core threatens to swallow the very tools we use to measure it. Today, we are leaving the sunlit world behind. We are descending into the Hadal Zone, into the lightless caves, and into the artificial wounds we have torn into the crust. We are going to the places where even the most seasoned explorers feel a primal urge to turn back. Before we begin this descent into the unknown, I want to know where you are watching from. Leave a comment with your city and the exact time you are seeing this. It is a small way to stay connected to the surface before we lose the light. Number 10. The Kermadec Trench, New Zealand. Located in the South Pacific, this is not just a hole in the ocean floor. It is a 10,047-meter deep vertical desert. As you descend, the blue of the surface fades into a bruised purple, then a suffocating black. At these depths, the water temperature hovers just above freezing, and the pressure is over 1,000 times that of the surface. Scientists who have sent unmanned submersibles here describe a feeling of profound unease as the cameras reveal a landscape of jagged volcanic rock and pale, ghostly sediment. In 2014, a research vessel lost its primary deep-sea lander here. It simply imploded, crushed into a ball of scrap metal in a fraction of a second. But it is the life here that truly disturbs the mind. The Kermadec is home to the supergiant amphipod, a creature that looks like a shrimp, but grows to the size of a human foot, its body translucent and armored against the crushing weight. There are also snailfish, pale and gelatinous, drifting through the dark like spirits. They have no scales, no pigment, and bones that have evolved into soft cartilage to prevent them from shattering under the pressure. Scientists fear the Kermadec because it is unpredictable. It is a subduction zone where the Pacific Plate is being forced under the Indo-Australian Plate, creating a constant, low-frequency groan that echoes through the abyss. It is a place of constant geological violence, a reminder that the ground beneath us is never truly still. The abyss is watching, and it is hungry for more than just our machines. Number 9. The Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, Russia. This is a 10,542-meter deep scar in the North Pacific, a place where the air smells of salt and ice, and the water below is a graveyard of tectonic energy. This trench is one of the most seismically active places on the planet. It is the birthplace of monsters, megathrust earthquakes that can trigger tsunamis capable of erasing entire coastlines. When scientists lower sensors into this void, they aren't just looking for fish. They are listening to the heartbeat of a killer. The walls of the trench are steep, crumbling cliffs of basalt, constantly shifting as the plates grind against one another. There is a specific kind of dread that comes with exploring the Kuril-Kamchatka. It is the knowledge that at any moment, the very walls could collapse in a massive underwater landslide. The life here is sparse and terrifying. Deep-sea explorers have captured footage of sea pigs, bloated, multi-legged creatures that scuttle across the silt, feeding on the marine snow, the decaying remains of dead organisms that drift down from the world above. It is a world built on death. Every creature here survives on the scraps of the living world, waiting in the dark for something to fall. Scientists are hesitant to spend too much time here, not just because of the technical challenges, but because of the sheer volatility of the environment. It is a place where the Earth is actively consuming itself, 1 centimeter at a time. Number 8. The Philippine Trench, Philippines. Also known as the Mindanao Trench, this abyss reaches depths of 10,540 meters. For decades, it was thought to be the deepest point on Earth until the Mariana Trench took the title. But the Philippine Trench holds a different kind of terror. The water here is so compressed that it behaves differently than the water you drink. It is dense, heavy, and cold. In the 1950s, the Danish Galathea expedition was the first to prove that life could exist at these depths, pulling up bacteria and small invertebrates from the muck. But what they didn't expect was the sound. Modern acoustic sensors placed in the Philippine Trench have recorded strange metallic pings and low-frequency hums that don't match any known biological or geological source. Some researchers suggest these are the sounds of the Earth's crust cracking under the immense weight of the ocean, while others remain silent, unable to explain the rhythmic nature of the noises. The trench is also a place of historical tragedy. It is located near the site of some of the most brutal naval battles of World War II. Thousands of sailors and hundreds of ships rest in the shallower waters nearby, their remains slowly being pulled toward the edge of the trench by the currents. It is a place of ghosts, both literal and metaphorical. The Philippine Trench is a reminder that once something falls into the deep, it belongs to the ocean forever. Number 7. The Kuril Trench, Russia. Often confused with its neighbor to the north, this specific section of the Kuril-Kamchatka system is a 10,542-meter deep void that remains one of the least explored regions of the Pacific. The surface above is plagued by thick fog and freezing storms, making any expedition a logistical nightmare. But it is what lies beneath the waves that truly chills the blood. The Kuril Trench is a cold seep environment where methane and other hydrocarbons leak out of the ocean floor. This creates a bizarre, toxic ecosystem where bacteria thrive on chemicals instead of sunlight. These bacteria form thick white mats on the rocks, looking like a layer of unearthly snow in the pitch black. Scientists who study this area have reported a strange phenomenon. Their equipment often malfunctions without explanation. Batteries drain in minutes, and high-definition cameras suddenly go dark. Some call it the Hadal Curse, a superstitious nod to the fact that we are simply not welcome here. The creatures that inhabit this toxic wasteland are equally unsettling. Giant isopods that look like prehistoric woodlice, and eels with no eyes that navigate by sensing the electrical fields of their prey. It is a world of chemical shadows and silent predators. The Kuril Trench is a place where the rules of the sunlit world are not just ignored, they are inverted. Number 6. The Tonga Trench, Tonga. Reaching a staggering 10,020 meters at its deepest point, known as the Horizon Deep, this is the second deepest place in the world's oceans. It is a place of extremes. The Tonga Trench is home to the fastest-moving tectonic plates on Earth, which means the landscape is changing faster than we can map it. In 2019, explorer Victor Vescovo descended into the Horizon Deep and found something that horrified the scientific community: a plastic bag. Even here, at the very edge of the world, human filth had arrived before we did. But beyond the pollution, the Tonga Trench is a biological enigma. Researchers have found xenophyophores here, single-celled organisms that grow to the size of a dinner plate. They are essentially giant living blobs of protoplasm that absorb minerals from the water to build delicate shell-like structures. They are fragile, yet they survive in a place that would crush a nuclear submarine. The sheer scale of the Tonga Trench is difficult to comprehend. If you dropped Mount Everest into it, the peak would still be over 2 kilometers underwater. It is a vertical abyss that defies the human sense of proportion. Scientists fear the Tonga because it represents the limit of our understanding. Every time we send a probe down, we find something that contradicts our previous theories. It is a place that refuses to be categorized, a void that keeps its secrets buried under billions of tons of water. We are halfway through our descent, and the pressure is only beginning to mount. If you are still with me, if you can feel the weight of these depths, then you are part of a small group of people willing to look into the dark. Before we move into the top 5, where we leave the ocean for the crushing weight of the Earth itself, make sure you are subscribed to L'Atlas Oublié. We explore the places the world wants to forget, and we need you with us. Also, tell me in the comments, which of these places would you be most afraid to visit? Is it the crushing ocean or the suffocating caves? Let's continue. Number 5. Veryovkina Cave, Georgia. We move now from the water to the rock. Located in the Arabica Massif of the Caucasus Mountains, Veryovkina is the deepest known cave on Earth, reaching a depth of 2,212 meters. This is not a cave you walk into. It is a cave you fall into. To reach the bottom, professional cavers must spend over a week descending through narrow vertical shafts and freezing, mud-slicked tunnels. The air is thick with the smell of damp limestone and ancient stagnant water. There are sections of this cave so narrow that explorers have to exhale just to squeeze their chests through the rock. It is the ultimate test of claustrophobia. In 2018, a team of cavers was trapped at the bottom when a sudden rainstorm on the surface caused a flash flood inside the cave. They watched as the water level rose, knowing that if it reached them, there would be no escape. They survived, but the psychological trauma remains. Veryovkina is a place where the earth feels like it is trying to swallow you whole. The silence at the bottom is so heavy it feels like a physical presence. There are no animals here, only tiny blind crustaceans that have lived in total darkness for millions of years. It is a subterranean Everest, but unlike the mountain, there is no view at the top. Only the long, agonizing climb back to the light. Number 4. Krubera Cave, Georgia. Also known as Voranja, meaning the Crow's Cave, this was long considered the deepest cave in the world before Veryovkina took the lead. It reaches a depth of 2,199 meters. Krubera is a labyrinth of vertical pits and flooded tunnels known as sumps. To reach the deepest points, divers must swim through freezing, pitch-black water in tunnels so tight they cannot turn around. One wrong move, one equipment failure, and you are buried under 2 kilometers of solid rock. The cave is named after the thousands of crows that nest in the entrance pit, but as you go deeper, the only sound is the constant dripping of water, a sound that cavers say eventually starts to sound like voices. The temperature inside is a constant, bone-chilling 2 degrees Celsius. Explorers have described the Krubera stare, a look of total exhaustion and mental collapse that takes over after days of living in the dark. The cave is so deep that it has its own weather system. Air pressure changes can cause sudden, violent winds to howl through the tunnels. It is a place that feels alive, a breathing stone beast that resents the presence of humans. Scientists are fascinated by the unique species found here, but many refuse to enter the deeper chambers, citing the extreme risk of collapse and the sheer physical toll of the descent. Number 3. The Kola Super Deep Borehole, Russia. This is not a natural wonder, but a scar inflicted by human ambition. During the Cold War, Soviet scientists decided to see how deep they could drill into the Earth's crust. They reached a depth of 12,262 meters, over 7.6 miles. The hole is only 9 inches wide, but it is a gateway to a world we were never meant to see. As they drilled, the temperature rose far beyond their expectations, reaching 180 degrees Celsius, or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. The rock at that depth behaved more like plastic than stone, flowing back into the hole as soon as the drill bit was removed. But it isn't the heat that makes the Kola borehole legendary. It is the sounds. Reports claim that when scientists lowered a heat-resistant microphone into the hole, they recorded the sounds of thousands of tormented voices screaming in agony. This led to the urban legend of the well to hell. While science has never confirmed these recordings, and most experts dismiss them as a hoax or the sound of shifting tectonic plates, the story persists because of the genuine fear the project inspired. The scientists themselves were shocked by what they found. Microscopic fossils of plankton at depths where life was thought to be impossible, and a strange boiling mud that smelled of sulfur and gas. The project was eventually abandoned, and the hole was welded shut with a heavy metal cap. Today, the site is a ruin, a rusted monument to the fact that some doors should never be opened. Number 2. Challenger Deep, Mariana Trench. This is the deepest known point in the Earth's seabed, located at the southern end of the Mariana Trench near Guam. It reaches a depth of 10,925 meters. To put that in perspective, if you were at the bottom, there would be nearly 7 miles of water above you. The pressure is 15,000 pounds per square inch. Only a handful of people have ever seen this place with their own eyes. In 1960, Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard were the first, followed decades later by filmmaker James Cameron and explorer Victor Vescovo. They described a landscape that looks like the surface of the moon, flat, desolate, and covered in a thick layer of diatomaceous ooze, the crushed remains of trillions of microscopic organisms. But even here, in the most hostile environment on the planet, there is life. Scientists have found giant foraminifera, single-celled organisms that look like balls of mud, and translucent sea cucumbers that drift through the dark. The fear here is not just the pressure, but the isolation. If something goes wrong at the bottom of the Challenger Deep, there is no rescue. You are further from help than an astronaut on the International Space Station. The water outside the thick steel walls of the submersible is a cold, crushing weight that is constantly searching for a microscopic flaw in the hull. It is the ultimate abyss, a place where the weight of the world is literal. We are now standing at the edge of the final mystery, the place that scientists truly fear, not because of what we know, but because of what we don't. Before I reveal the #1 deepest and most terrifying place on Earth, check one last time to see if you are subscribed. This is the moment where the map ends and the unknown begins. Have you commented your favorite item yet? Do it now before we cross the final threshold. Number 1. The Abyss, the unexplored sections of the Mariana Trench. While we have reached the Challenger Deep, we have only seen a tiny fraction of the Mariana Trench. The trench is over 1,500 miles long and 43 miles wide. There are vast mountainous regions and deep canyons within the trench that have never been mapped, let alone visited. Scientists suspect that there are Sirena Deeps and hidden troughs that may be even deeper than the Challenger Deep. These are the blind spots of our planet. We have better maps of the surface of the Moon and Mars than we do of the bottom of our own ocean. The fear among scientists is that these unexplored sections hold geological and biological secrets that could rewrite everything we know about life. There are reports of massive acoustic anomalies, sounds so loud they are picked up by sensors thousands of miles away, that originate from these unmapped voids. Some speculate about the existence of megafauna that have remained hidden for millions of years, while others fear the massive stores of methane ice that, if disturbed by a submarine landslide, could trigger a global climate catastrophe. The unexplored Mariana is the ultimate shadow. It is a place where the pressure is so great that our best technology fails, where our lights cannot penetrate the gloom, and where the Earth keeps its most ancient and terrifying secrets. It is the heart of the abyss, the place where the planet reminds us that we are merely guests on its surface, and that the true masters of the Earth dwell in the dark, far beneath our feet. The journey into the depths is more than just a descent into darkness. It is a lesson in humility. We live our lives on a thin crust of rock, floating on a sea of magma, surrounded by an ocean that we have barely begun to understand. These 10 places, from the crushing trenches of the Pacific to the suffocating silence of the Georgian caves, are reminders that the Earth is vast, ancient, and indifferent to our existence. We call ourselves explorers, but in the face of the Hadal Zone, we are nothing more than children peering into a dark room. The scientists who study these places don't just feel curiosity. They feel a profound sense of awe and, yes, fear, because they know that for every secret we uncover, the abyss hides 1,000 more. The planet was not made for us, and perhaps some parts of it were never meant to be found. If you enjoyed this descent into the unknown, make sure to watch our next video on the most isolated islands in the world, places where the silence is just as loud as it is in the trenches. Don't forget to subscribe to l'Atlas Oublié and hit the notification bell. The world is full of forgotten places, and we are going to find them all. Till next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, but never forget what lies beneath.